Imagine becoming so powerful that governments fear you, presidents hunt you, and an entire nation trembles when your name is whispered. Imagine earning so much money that you cannot even count it fast enough, so much that rats devour millions of dollars in cash every year, so much that you burn stacks of money just to keep your daughter warm on a cold night. This is not fiction. This is the true story of Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria, the rise, the reign, and the violent fall of the most infamous drug lord in modern history. You are watching DeepReality Stories, where power rises fast and falls even faster. Before he became the face of global crime, before the bombs, the bloodshed, the billions, Pablo Escobar was just a boy born on December 1st, 1949 in Rio Negro, Colombia, and raised in the bustling, chaotic streets of Medellín. His father, Abel de Jesus Escobar, was a modest farmer, a man who prized honesty but struggled to make ends meet. His mother, Hermilda Gaviria, a schoolteacher with a sharp mind and a stern hand, nurtured ambition in her son without ever knowing how far it would go. They were not rich. They were not influential. They were ordinary people trying to survive in a country torn by poverty, inequality, and simmering violence. But Pablo, he was different. Even as a child, he was restless, cunning, and utterly fearless. Where others saw rules, he saw opportunity. By the age of 13, he was already experimenting with petty crimes, selling fake lottery tickets, smuggling contraband cigarettes, stealing cars and reselling them. Small crimes, but ambition without limits. Colombia in the 1960s and 70s was a nation on edge. Poverty was rampant. Corruption seeped into every corner of society. Violence was an everyday reality. It was a place where only the bold, the clever, or the ruthless could rise. Pablo saw a world full of doors waiting to be unlocked, and he decided he would be the one to walk through them. By the 1970s, cocaine demand in the United States was exploding. What had once been a niche, underground drug became a booming industry. Colombia had the perfect storm: supply routes, jungle laboratories, desperate farmers, and a corrupt system. And Pablo Escobar saw a gold mine. He began with small partnerships in Medellín. What started in small rooms and dark warehouses quickly evolved into a sprawling criminal empire. Laboratories deep in the rainforest churned out tons of cocaine. Planes flew low over oceans. Submarines were used to evade authorities. Hidden compartments in trucks and cars became routine. By the early 1980s, the Medellín cartel controlled an estimated 80% of the cocaine entering the United States. 80%. Millions poured in every day. So much money that warehouses overflowed with cash. Rats devoured millions. Stacks of bills were burned to keep his daughter warm on cold nights. Pablo bought more than wealth. He bought influence, fear, and loyalty. In Medellín's poorest neighborhoods, he funded housing, soccer fields, and schools. For many, he was a hero, Robin Hood Paisa. But behind generosity was terror. Escobar ruled with one phrase: plata o plomo, silver or lead. Take the bribe or take the bullet. Judges were assassinated. Police officers executed. Journalists silenced. Politicians disappeared. In 1989, Avianca Flight 203 was destroyed by a bomb, killing over 100 innocent people. Entire city blocks were leveled by car bombs. Children died. Families were shattered. In 1982, Escobar briefly walked the halls of power as a member of Colombia's Congress. For a moment, he wore a suit instead of a bulletproof vest. He tasted legitimacy. But exposure came quickly. His name was no longer whispered in fear, it was shouted in headlines, on radios, across Colombia. He was expelled in humiliation. The halls of power rejected him, and the man who once walked as a lawmaker now became a hunted criminal. American prisons became his greatest fear. He would rather die than be trapped behind bars in the United States. So he declared war. Bombings intensified, assassinations increased, entire streets trembled under his reach. Search Block, a specialized Colombian police unit with US support, hunted him relentlessly. Helicopters circled mountains, snipers waited on rooftops. Los Pipes, vigilantes financed by rivals, dismantled his network piece by piece. In 1991, he negotiated surrender, building his own prison, La Catedral. Luxury beds, a private bar, waterfalls cascading down artificial cliffs, soccer fields where children played as if nothing had happened. Guards handpicked by Escobar himself ensured that inside, he remained untouchable. Inside these walls, he continued to run his empire, unseen but omnipresent. When authorities discovered he was orchestrating murders and smuggling operations from inside his prison, they moved to transfer him. But Pablo Escobar escaped. In 1992, one of the largest manhunts in history began. Mountains, jungles, and cities became his hiding ground. Every safe house was a trap. Every phone call could betray him. Fear was constant. Sleep was rare. Every step could be his last. At night, he moved like a ghost. Helicopters roared overhead. Searchlights cut through thick jungle canopies. Scouts tracked footprints. Snipers waited silently. Explosions in distant towns echoed through the valleys. Every car, every house, every shadow could hide a trap. Pablo relied on underground tunnels, secret trails, and river crossings. Rain-soaked nights made his path treacherous. Mudslides, wild animals, and patrols were constant threats. Every sound could betray him: a branch snapping, a dog barking, or the distant hum of an approaching helicopter. Police raids came in waves. Doors were broken down, roofs were breached. Gunfire lit up the night sky. He would vanish into the jungle, leaving nothing but empty rooms and terrified accomplices behind. On one chase, authorities cornered him near a river. Helicopters hovered, searchlights sweeping the forest. Boats patrolled the river, and snipers lined the cliffs. But Escobar slipped through hidden tunnels, disappearing into darkness, leaving the men in white uniforms frustrated and empty-handed. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Entire towns feared to harbor him, yet sympathizers risked everything for a glimpse of the man who gave them money and hope. On December 2, 1993, authorities traced a phone call he made to his son. They tracked him to a middle-class neighborhood in Medellín. A rooftop gunfight erupted. Bullets shattered windows. Dogs barked. Tires screeched. Minutes later, Pablo Escobar lay dead. Not in a palace, not surrounded by millions, but cornered, on a rooftop, his life ending the way it began, surrounded by the chaos of his own making. Thousands attended his funeral. Some mourned, some celebrated. He left behind a nation scarred by fear, violence, and loss. Was he a product of poverty and corruption, or a man who chose power over humanity? Even billions of dollars could not buy immortality. Every empire built on fear collapses under its own weight. This is the story of ambition without limits, power without conscience, and a downfall written in blood. If this story shocked you, hit like, subscribe to DeepReality Stories, and tell us, do you believe power corrupts or reveals who we truly are? This is DeepReality Stories, and the next rise is always one decision away. Remember, empires built on fear leave nothing but ashes behind. And every legend, no matter how powerful, eventually falls.